folks. This is Adam Wason. I'm the Public Works Director for the City of Bloomington. It is August 27th, 2024, 5:30 p.m. We are in the McCloskey Conference Room at City Hall, 401 North Morton Street, Bloomington, Indiana. We also have a Zoom link that is on the agenda that is working and has some folks on the online Zoom link. If you are online via Zoom, if you would like to offer any comment at any point in time for any of the items on the agenda or during petitions and remonstrances, you just use the raise hand function and we will unmute you at that time. Otherwise, I will turn it over to Kyla Cox-Deckard, Board President for the Board of Public Works. And if we could, can you just do a quick roll call since we don't have our nameplates in front of us?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I can do that. So I call to order this regular meeting of the Board of Public Works this Tuesday, August 27th of 2024. First, we will do a roll call so that everyone knows who is present. We have Crone.
Here.
Roach.
Here.
And Cox-Deckard here. First up is messages from the board. Are there any messages from board members this evening?
None for me.
Next is Title VI abatements. Thank you. Title VI abatements, we have 1709 East Circle Drive.
Hi, my name is Joe Stong. I'm a compliance officer with the HAND Department, Housing and Neighborhood Development. We issued tickets to this property on May 21st and June 21st, July 12th and August 7th for overgrowth. And it looks the same as in the pictures as of today. We've heard nothing from the owner, and we are asking the board for permission to enter the property to abate the violation. And we'd like to have it be a continuous violation.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item? None. Any public comment on this item?
I have nothing else in.
Okay. Seeing none. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the abatement for 1709 East Circle Drive.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Crone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next, we have appeals. Under appeals, we have a Title VII appeal, notice of violation for Roto-Rooter. I'm sorry, that's Title 12.
Title 12. Yeah, if the reps from Roto-Rooter want to come up to the table, you're welcome to, and take a seat in front of one of the microphones. That'd be great. Usually we're not in this room. It's a little bit different than our normal setup, but I can start to present and then as we need to. So this is an appeal for a notice of violation that was issued to Roto-Rooter on July 12th, 2024. And it's regarding a sidewalk panel that was removed on East 3rd Street for the IU Hillel Center, and then that remained, that sidewalk panel remained out for approximately 2 months, I believe, and was not repaired until mid-July. Roto-Rooter is appealing that notice of violation that was issued by the engineering department. And Alex, if you have anything that you would like to add, feel free. Otherwise, turn it over to Roto-Rooter to explain why they would like to appeal the notice of violation.
So during the course of work...
Could you just state your name quickly? Sorry.
My name's John Fender.
Thank you.
During the course of work, upon our arrival there, the gentleman that oversees that building stated he did not want us to replace the concrete, that they would be taking responsibility for that. They had some exposed aggregate up on the private sidewalk, as well as addressing some other concrete issues there on the property. And he told me that they would be starting directly as soon as we were done. And he didn't want us to do the concrete work.
We had to lower our bill because we had to take the concrete out of it. So it's kind of, we're not gonna get paid for it, we either do it or we get fined.
Mhm.
It kind of left us pretty much incapable to finish it unless it was at our own expense, and now we're being fined. When we filed for the permit, they honestly didn't know if it was IU or the city. So we went ahead and filed to get the permit just to be on the safe side. I mean, if you're taking out a sidewalk, we try to be safe, but
And could you state your name for our record?
John Farmer, sorry.
That's
I
fine, thank
forget.
you.
I'm just gonna ask a couple things here. Roto-Rooter was the one that pulled the permit to do the work in the right-of-way though, right?
Yes.
Through the engineering department. So Roto-Rooter is the one that took the sidewalk panel out there along 3rd Street. Understanding that who you contracted with was planning to use a different contractor. What conversation has taken place with Hillel Center about the fines? I mean, the situation we're in.
Honestly,
Mhm.
the conversations were pretty abrasive in nature. When I called him to stress the importance of it, because we've never been fined or had any issues on any of our job sites, he literally told me, let the city fine me, don't care what it is, I'll pay it. I'm not concerned about
That the
it.
Hillel Center would pay?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the situation we're in is,
It put me in a bad spot.
it seems like it. The situation we're in is we have East 3rd Street, a main sidewalk
Oh.
pedestrian area for the city that was,
That's why we tried to take care of it.
it had a sidewalk panel removed for 2 months, most of the time without proper safety signage in place and everything comes down to ADA. So at what point in time do you get someone with a mobility or a sight challenge across the street so they don't have to walk through that? So am I correct that we didn't have proper signage either for most of the time?
For us, our portion of that was a one-day job, and I actually spoke with Alex throughout this entire process. And as well as I made him aware, hey, our portion of this is done, something needs to be done, and I even called Mr. Farmer to say, hey, we need to get some street plates down here or do something on our behalf just because. And what we were fearful of is the street plates coming up missing, being as
There's other contractors that are
that
supposed
job
to be
was
doing
done,
it,
and-
so, I mean, yes, we filed for the permit, I understand. We don't like leaving sidewalks undone because it literally makes us,
And just-
but at the same time, when you're told, no, I'm not paying you to do it, I've got a concrete guy here that's gonna do all of it.
And just to kind of I don't know if this matters or not to you, but I'm gonna say it anyways because it was important to us. The gentleman that we dealt with over that, there was an agreed upon price even for the job, and he just picks out a price and says, here, that's what I'm gonna give you guys. So, I mean, this gentleman was dictating things just as he seemed fit.
Our recommendation as a staff has been to uphold the fines. We are in a position, and so Public Works, obviously staff's the Board of Public Works. It's ultimately the board's decision here on if we should accept an appeal or not. What it comes down for us is we're holding contractors responsible for improper sidewalk closures across the city right now. We've got our own fiber contractor that's gotten hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fines.
Oh, I'm aware.
Oh, I'm aware, they're not paying us.
Well, and so we're holding all contractors and anyone responsible that isn't keeping the right of way open.
Can I ask this though?
Well, let me please finish, sir. And so, when I read through this again today, it's a difficult situation to be in because it's clear that your contract what was submitted from you folks as far as your invoicing with the Hillel Center states that we had to remove a section of sidewalk above the stairs and section of sidewalk at road level. Roto-Rooter is not responsible for reinstalling concerts that will be done by another company. Concerts meaning
It's probably just a misspelling,
Okay.
concrete.
Concrete. That's what I was expecting. The hard part for us is we've issued a permit to you folks to dig out the sidewalk panel, and even if they're not, this is a difficult situation. I fully
I spoke
recognize
with
that.
Alex about that, and she said this is the first time that it actually came up in
I
this
mean,
manner.
Mhm.
Yeah, we can't fix a sewer with concrete over.
But at the same time, when somebody's telling me not to do something, what am
Yeah.
I supposed to do
Yeah.
at that point?
It's on
And
their property.
we haven't had any issues, fines, or anything like that previously either. That should be taken into account, I feel like.
Yeah. Have we had any conversation with Hillel Center? Come on, yeah, please.
Um,
Come over.
Yeah.
So, I'm Alex Gray with the engineering department. Maria McCormick, the project improvements,
Public improvements.
public improvements, oh my goodness, I knew I said it wrong when I did it. The public improvements manager, she has talked with the Hillel Center, and there was some discussion to even get the sidewalk repaired because they were kind of dragging their feet to even get it repaired. There was talk that we would do them as fines as well if they didn't kind of push forward into actually doing it, and they did end up getting a contractor out there. There was concerns with that though. We had to kind of monitor them a little bit more because they tried to use bagged concrete mix,
It's not allowed.
which we don't allow.
Mhm. So as of today, when was the sidewalk actually repaired?
Did I write it in? July 11th, I think, is what I wrote in the.
Oh, okay. That that was
Yeah.
it. Okay. All right. I've gotten some questions I wanted answered. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's fine. Thanks for clarifying some of those issues. Are there questions from the board?
My question, I think, Adam, goes back to the line you read, Roto-Rooter is not responsible reinstalling concrete that will be done by another company
Mhm.
in the invoice. So they're stating
Yeah, this is tough. I mean,
their
anytime
responsibility.
anytime that we issue a permit to dig a sidewalk panel out, we're not necessarily was that submitted as part of the permit application? That's kind of after, that was probably submitted at,
That
after.
brought up another part of when I was speaking with Alex to be reassured this doesn't ever happen again.
mm-hmm.
I'm still, and I spoke with our office girls before I left to come here. They're still not 100% sure where that would even be submitted in that paperwork.
In that paper, where you would actually submit an invoice or a
Right.
quote of work with the parameters.
So that
And it's difficult for us because in the end, whoever is going to dig that sidewalk panel out is ultimately going to be responsible for it to go back in. That's the hard part we have. It's clearly stated on, what was this date stamp on that one? So this was 5/13. So you're, obviously, if this was issued, this was sent to Hillel on the 13th of May, 2024, which is right when the work would have occurred, and it clearly states that. So.
If we would have been allowed to do that concrete,
It would've
we
been
would
done
have,
that
well,
day.
number one, we would have had street plates over it that night, and the concrete would have been done the following day.
Mm-hmm.
I have a quick question, just for city protocol and staff-related question. Would Hillel have been able to request a permit? Or is only the contractor able to request a permit?
I do know the answer to this. So it actually, they can do a permit. They can be the holder. That's actually what we try to ask for, like, for example, IU. If they have multiple contractors, we will ask them to be the holder. And then, but that is under the assumption that they take responsibility of whatever the contractor does. So there's some kind of there, but they can do that. They
Okay.
and they can also have it to where they can utilize the contractor's bond and insurance, but there has to be an agreement that's very much stated, we agree, like, whether that be the other contractor say, yes, we are okay with IU stating that we are being the ones doing the work, that kind of thing.
So we've had plenty of instances where private property owners have gotten right-of-way permits, bonded themselves, had work completed with separate agreements and things. We also have a lot of agreements with contractors that do the work on the private property or in the public right-of-way that get permits. It can go both ways. What I think I want to suggest at this point in time is that we at least table this appeal for tonight's meeting, not ask for a final decision, allow us to the next board meeting to reach out to both IU Hillel and try to get some other information here. Our intent's not to be adversarial in these things, but we're held to the standard that the city council puts us in charge of.
I hold myself
Yep.
to a
Yep.
very high standard on these job sites,
Yep.
and I take a lot of pride in them. So for the fact that we're even having to sit here right now, I mean, it's pretty upsetting.
I fully understand. We also had a sidewalk that was closed to the public for
And
8 weeks.
To just the
Oh,
point
and
where
we don't
they're
like it
paying
either,
out,
especially,
Yeah.
They
I'm
were
just,
trying to do it with bad concrete.
Oh, I 100% understand that this is an abnormal situation of that we're in here, and so in the end, we're going to ask someone to be paying a fine for having that sidewalk closed in that manner for 8 weeks consecutively. It's again, we're out there inspecting job sites across the whole city right now, including the city's fiber project itself that's being run by so there's a lot, and we are tasked, and the council monitors, and we have other folks that hold us to task to make sure that we're out and making sure the right of ways are open for the public.
So one other thing, we literally wrote off $1,500 of this job
Yeah.
just to part ways with this gentleman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What I'd like to do is have some conversations and to kind of figure out some of the situation here. And if you could, I don't want to request that you just automatically have to come to a meeting again in 2 weeks, but if you wouldn't mind giving us 2 weeks,
Yeah.
I'd ask the board to table this one at this time.
and can I ask one question? So, we don't like being put in this situation, okay? But if I have to file for a permit to do the job that I've been asked, okay, to do, and then I am relieved of it, kicked off of it, whatever the reason may be,
Communication.
right.
Yeah.
So I have to go ahead and finish the job so I don't get fined for no money.
Yeah, at this point, again, staff isn't ever trying to be adversarial in this situations. What we need is really good communication. Hey, we've pulled this permit on 3rd Street. We know it's a high pedestrian area. We fixed the sewer today. We're being told by the property, that a call that day on something high traffic like this would be really important. Hey, we were told not to do the concrete work. We've put up some signage. We've put a we've tried to make it as safe
Signage
as
up
yeah.
for a
yeah.
while.
I think our communication with Alex was,
It got difficult because that did happen initially. I think it got difficult because what happened is that second crew that was supposed to come in and do the concrete didn't happen.
it wasn't communication on our end.
Right,
Yeah.
when we left, we thought it was going to be done the next day, and then
We were too, and that's why we
And
were
then
kind of
we
like, well,
find
what
out it was
happened?
not.
The second crew was unrelated to Roto-Rooter,
Yes,
is that correct?
we
Okay.
were just told that there was a concrete crew of some kind that was supposed to come in and repair it, but we were not told who, we weren't told any kind of details,
But
which
you-
that they didn't know.
And you did let Alex know that you were,
No, we did speak. We
Leaving.
spoke several times over this,
Okay.
actually.
It was
also-
different.
he just didn't
Yeah.
want to pay 2 concrete crews to do, he's like, let them all
Well,
do
if
it together.
the upper portion of the concrete was exposed aggregate, I can do concrete work. I cannot do decorative concrete work as
Sure.
far as the exposed aggregate and things of that nature.
is this portion of sidewalk Hillel private property, IU property, or city property?
I believe it's in city right away.
It is city.
City
There's
right of
2
way.
panels there, and you can kind of see them in the specific one we're talking about is along 3rd. There is a panel that was kind of more on the Hillel property that's private. That one is not included. It was just the panel that was on 3rd that's city.
Yeah, so
In
the
the
sidewalk
photo,
on
yeah.
3rd Street is going to be city right away.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right, thank you.
If I could make a request, excuse me, if this comes back to us, can we get a copy of the actual permit application?
Sure, absolutely.
Oh, the application.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm trying to remember if this one was done through EPL or not.
Okay.
So
We'll figure it out.
that is different, because we
Okay.
don't have paper copies anymore. We just do
Yeah.
EPL, so.
We'll figure
But
it
we
out.
can figure out how to do that.
One other thing I did just want to confirm, because I've heard it in this conversation and I saw it in the appeal, is the comment that there was communication as soon as Roto-Rooter determined they were no longer going to be working on that sidewalk, that they did reach out to you according to their appeal, and I just wanted to hear from you, Alex, that confirmation. It sounds like that did happen.
Yeah, I actually have an email. It didn't get attached to the packet. That was what I mentioned to April just a moment ago, and I sent it to Adam. that Brittany Fender had reached out to me in email. That is it, yes. There it is.
Technology.
There it is. It is behind you.
Okay. Yeah, that's helpful to know as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and in that, I believe there was communication that what was difficult for us is because the way that our code is kind of written right now is that whoever is the permit holder is the one that we do the fines for.
Absolutely.
And so for us, that's how I was asked to relay it, is that we understand that it's difficult, but the way our code is written, we have to have the permit holder is responsible for repairs.
Yeah, that's understandable. Does the board want to entertain a motion to table? Is there a motion?
I move that we table the Title 12 appeal, notice of violation for Roto-Rooter.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Crone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard? Aye. The item is tabled.
We'll be in touch over the next couple days, in next week or so. Okay.
Thank you
Yeah.
for coming.
Yeah, thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you.
We appreciate it.
I won't lie, it's really weird for me to be in this meeting and not, in this room and not run the meeting, like.
Well, and it is more of a conversational environment than the other space, so. All right, next up is petitions and remonstrances. If we have anyone who would like to make a public comment on something that is not on our agenda this evening, now is the opportunity to do so. If you're on Zoom, again, you can use the raised hand function or the chat function to let us know that you'd like to make a comment.
Nothing on Zoom.
Seeing none. Next is the consent agenda. Under the consent agenda is the approval of minutes for July 30th of 2024, approval of minutes for August 13th of 2024, amendment number 1 to contract with True North for Bloomington Police Department EV storage facility, amendment number 1 to contract with Reed & Sons for Fire Station number 1 renovation project, resolution 2024-051 declaration of fleet surplus, resolution 2024-053 Harmony School Extravaganza, resolution 2024-054 Hoosiers Outrun Cancer, resolution 2024-055 Blockhouse Bar Music Fest, resolution 2024-056 Folk Concert, resolution 2024-057 IU Homecoming Parade, resolution 2024-058 Declaration of ITS Surplus, resolution 2024-059 Declaration of ITS Surplus, and approval of payroll. Do we have any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda this evening?
No.
Do we have any public comments on anything within the consent agenda this evening?
Nothing on Zoom.
All right. Seeing none. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda for tonight's meeting of August 27th, 2024.
Second?
All right, I will call the roll. Carone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard? Aye. Motion passes. Next up is new business. First under new business is lane closure request from Lineal Contracting on West Country Club Drive.
Hi, it's Alex Gray from engineering. I'm once again. I'm back. So this is a request from Lineal Contracting for AT&T. They are requesting a lane and sidewalk closure for fiber installation along West Country Club Drive, South Rogers Street, South Madison Street, and West Ralston Drive. The sidewalk closure is only really going to be present at South Rogers and Ralston Drive, just because they're going to be on the back side of the sidewalk, and they just want to be cautious when they're doing some digging near the sidewalk, and that's going to be for one of their underground routes that goes across the street. The rest of it is just going to be temporary lane closures, just so they can have their equipment near where they're going to be digging. So that's going to be like a water truck, or they call it a vac truck, which is kind of sucks out dirt and everything. For that, they pretty much plan to kind of hopefully start soon after the board approves it, or whenever is, closest to for that. And then they want to hopefully have it planned out and done before December 31st. But in actuality, that's more of their scheduling, so that would be including when they do their locates and how long it would take to actually get out there. They really probably will only take about 3 days per street, so maybe 2 weeks.
Questions from the board on this Any public comments on this item?
Nothing on Zoom.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the lane closure request from Lineal Contracting on West Country Club Drive.
Second?
All right, I'll call the roll. Corone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox Deckard? Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next, we have sidewalk closure request from F.A. Wilhelm for West Allen Street.
Hi.
Aye.
Dashiell Sherman Populars with engineering. F.A. Wilhelm Construction is requesting a sidewalk closure on the south side of West Allen Street, west of Strong Drive. The closure is requested to begin late August and finish early October. The request is to accommodate removing and replacing the existing planter wall and sidewalk, and the associated right-of-way permit will not be released until the engineering department has received necessary material. F.A. Wilhelm Construction has supplied maintenance of traffic plans for the closure.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item? Any public comments on this item?
Nothing on Zoom.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the sidewalk closure request from F.A. Wilhelm for West Allen Street.
Second?
All right, I will call the roll. Corone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox Deckard? Aye. Motion passes. Next, we have a contract with Ancris LLC for Walnut Street Garage storm drain removal and replacement.
Hello, Jess Goodman, Parking Garage Manager. We need the removal and replacement of all storm drains in the Walnut Street Garage. We had an assessment done this year by Applied Engineering, and all those need replaced. I'll be replacing those with PVC instead of cast iron, and putting bollards around some of the pipes that could be hit. And it looks like Ancris came in with $24,381.
Questions from the board on this item?
Not a question, just a note that I will recuse myself from this vote due to a prior relationship with Ancris.
Okay. Any public comments on this item?
Nothing on Zoom.
Okay. Seeing none, is there a motion on this item?
I move approval of the contract with Ancris LLC for Walnut Street Garage storm drain removal and replacement.
All right, I second that motion. I will call the roll. Corone has recused. Roach?
Aye.
Cox Deckard, aye. Motion passes.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thanks. Next up is staff reports and other business.
Adam Wason again, Public Works Director for the City of Bloomington. I would just like to make note that we did remove from the agenda today a request for for permit extensions for AEG, the fiber installer. We're continuing to have conversations with AEG on how to best get that project under proper project management and make sure that we're all in concert on getting that project moving forward together with all aspects of community safety in mind for the traveling public, those using our sidewalks and other areas where the right-of-way is being impacted. Having many conversations on a daily basis to get those communications improved, to make sure all of the standards for maintenance of traffic are always adhered to. We do currently have several notices of violation out with AEG and are working closely to get those all paid and finalized. So there were I think there were 10 extension requests originally on the agenda. We've pulled those for now. We're having them focus on restoration work and close out of all their other areas, and then really working closely on a timeline for next steps on when and how they'll move into new permitted areas and when those extensions would be given. Some of these extensions would have been a dual renewal, so this would have been the second time. We would have been renewing some of these. So we really are working closely with them. This is a very large project, and it just, we knew it would have large community-wide impacts, but we need to get some of these things coordinated in a better fashion. So we did remove their request they did request that we remove their agenda item, but wanted to make sure I did update the board that we do have current notice of violations and lots of ongoing conversations. So happy to try to answer any questions there if you would like. Otherwise, was just going to give you a couple other updates. We have our budget hearings tonight before the City Council, so we'll be presenting, we'll leave this meeting and head down the hallway to the City Council chambers, and we'll present the 7 divisional budgets for the Public Works Department for 2025. Give you a couple brief updates yesterday. Some of the big overarching topics that we're talking about. We're talking a lot about the planning and design for a future operations center for Public Works. What we've realized over time is that the Public Works, the facilities that support all of the services that Public Works provide have fallen behind the times in terms of modernization and proper employee amenities and things. They're just, when we visit peer communities as part of our accreditation process, staff becomes very jealous very quickly, is a really nice way to say that. We're just behind the times. Our street division operates out of an old cinder block building that was formerly the Parks Operations Center. The fleet maintenance garage is decades old and was a hand-me-down from formerly Bloomington Transit. And so we're looking at really trying to have a modern facility that'll serve our needs into the future, serve the community's needs into the future, serve the employees of Public Works that are working so hard every day to do all the things we do, and make sure they have proper locker rooms, proper break facilities. The example I've shown when I take folks on tours is the break room for the street division. It's, again, in an old cinder block building. We repaired the leaks in the roof, but where the break room was, when you walk in there and say, can you imagine being on a 24-hour shift of snow control and you're trying to get a couple hours rest, and this is where you get to go. It rings home pretty quickly. So it's something we started with the past administration in terms of conversations. We did not get to where I would have liked to have been by now, but so that's a big focus of our budget conversations, moving that forward. Additionally, we'll present each of the divisional budgets. Some other just big highlights that we're going to focus a lot of conversation on are our asset management efforts. We've changed platforms, software platforms for our asset management efforts. When I say asset management, what we mean there is everything that we're tasked with maintaining. So whether it is a building, a road surface, a sidewalk, a vehicle, anything that Public Works is tasked with maintaining, we need to have a software system that documents how old something is, what the value of it is, what the parts are that are in it, all sorts of different things. And that applies at the street division for, again, road surfaces, sidewalks, traffic signals, signs. It applies to the facilities division for HVAC systems, roofing structures, when the last time we were tuck pointing. But a big focus on that platform. The City of Bloomington Utilities, Parks and Recreation, and Public Works have all moved to the same platform. And it is a really, the platform we use is a nationwide leader for municipal governments in this regard. But just having all three of us, all of the main main departments tasked with maintaining infrastructure on the same platform. The best example of how I can tell you how great it's going to work is we do all of the street repair for CBU. We do all the concrete repair for CBU. So CBU's crews will be out in the field taking pictures and documenting a water line, a water main break repair. They're gonna get that to a final finish. They're gonna repair that pipe underground, document everything they did in that repair from a cost factor, but then be able to share exactly over to the street department all that information. We're then gonna be able to attach the invoices for the asphalt that then gets paid by CBU. It's just, I mean, the level of coordination and interplay here is something that we're, if you can't tell, it gets us going. You know, it's exciting, it's fun, it's cool stuff that we get to do, and to have that, across departments. Is something we've never had before. So we're proud of those efforts. So we're focused on some of that. Otherwise, it's pretty traditional public works budget. A lot of our dollars are spent in Category 1 personnel expenses. We do have a lot of exciting capital projects that we're looking to move forward next year, citywide, but we're also looking at some alternative funding sources than our traditional ones for that. So. We'll be up there for probably an hour and a half or two tonight with the council answering questions and doing those presentations, but that'll be on CATS as well. So happy to answer any questions or if you have anything specific there.
I'd just say, Adam, as someone that works for a very niche software company, I appreciate the excitement.
It is. It's one of the things we've focused on for a lot of years with since I've been with Public Works is just modernization, whether it's technological modernization, vehicles, traffic signals, and I am no technologist, but know that that's the way of the future, and so we're trying to make sure we do that. Don't get behind the times. That's all I've got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is approval of claims.
Oh, I have one more thing.
Oh, no, go ahead. I can hold on. Trust me, claims can wait. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to give a final thank you to April Rosenberger. So this will be her last official meeting with the Board of Public Works. We have hired her replacement. And so just a formal thank you to April for all of her work. Even though she's moved up to the mayor's office these last several weeks, she's been assisting us and doing all this on top of all of her new duties. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You guys are really good at the golf clap.
We're ready for this. All right, then we will move to approval of claims. Are there any questions on the claims? All right, any public comments on claims?
Nothing on Zoom.
All right, seeing none, is there a motion on the claims?
I move that we approve claims tonight in the amount of $2,503,497.83.
Second?
All right, I will call the roll. Carone?
Aye.
Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. And seeing that there's nothing else, I will call for adjournment.